Media tycoon and historian, on that point, author of numerous works, including Flight of the Eagle, Lord Conrad Black is with me now. Lord Conrad, thanks so much for joining me. President Obama pardoning...
Happy New Year, Deirdre. Haven't seen you since then.
I know. Happy New Year, indeed. Obama pardoning 7 Iranian prisoners, U.S. Treasury imposing these sanctions in exchange for 5 Americans. As a historian, how will history judge this swap?
I haven't studied it enough to say that, but I think it fits into the well-established policy of this administration with Iran, which is to gamble that taking the initiative in tendering an olive branch will be reciprocated and will lead to more responsible conduct than the Iranians have shown for many years. I personally don't believe that. I think that what we have done is given them a green light to develop a deliverable nuclear weapon within 10 years if they want to honor the agreement, and they do not have a history of honoring agreements very well. And I'm very respectful of the holder of the great office of president, but when this president says that his decision and his conduct has been a matter of courage and wisdom and so forth, it's not really for him to say that. And I don't see that it has been. He was a man who, less than 3 years ago, was speaking of the only possible end of the nuclear discussions with Iran being the abandonment of the Iranian nuclear program for any military purposes, and that's not what we have. On the matter of exchanging hostages, I think it's more of the same, but I don't want to sound cavalier about the concerns for the individuals in question, and I have, as I said, not analyzed it precisely.
Well, let me bring in some comments.
I think got the better of it.
From our colleagues at the Wall Street Journal. In their reporting, they say the Obama administration was worried that a prisoner swap would be viewed by Congress as a form of diplomatic extortion. For those not following the situation as closely, we just want to bring in some comments right now from the Secretary of State, John Kerry, saying the prisoners were not part of the sanctions delay.
But these tracks were separate. We almost had these folks out several months ago. And then there was a snag that occurred.
But the timing, Mr. Secretary, looks a little suspicious. You know,
well, what can I say? We were not going to waste any time in getting them home.
So it's just a coincidence?
It is absolutely a coincidence.
Does it seem likely, though, that the U.S. waited to put sanctions in place until after these 5 Americans were freed?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. I mean, or is it a coincidence, as John Kerry said?
I'm hesitant to second-guess the Secretary of State, but there is a credibility gap here. Yeah, I mean, the policy of this government has been one of considerable appeasement to traditional opponents of the U.S. on the theory that let's give it a try. And I understand the reasoning. I just don't think it's going to work. I'm happy that people are going home, but even under strong administrations, President Eisenhower and people like this trading, or some of his successors trading Gary Powers for one of the Soviet Union's leading spies. I mean, we got foxed. We, the West, got foxed on the deal. But whether that actually happened here, I must say, I just don't know enough about it. But I do know a fair bit about the pattern of Iranian-American relations, and I think this business of giving them a green light to being a full-fledged military nuclear power in 10 years, if they observe every single requirement of the agreement, which they have no history of doing, is a mistake.
All right. Lord Conrad Black, so glad you are here. Thank you for the time. It's great to chat with you.
Thank you so much, Deirdre.
Lord Conrad Black joining me there.